Hey, I'm John Bohlinger with Premier Guitar. This is the second installment of slide lessons. On the first one, I talked about beginning slide and just working around a simple chord pattern. If you're in the key of A, this second fret triad, you can pull a lot of great melodies out of that. But now we're going to combine that to the next chord. In the key of A, there's your first, and here would be your second A. And if you bridge the gap between those and slide in between those two chords, you find some really nice melodies. And you have parallel strings where you're, on your E and B, that's a 1 and a 5 of the chord, and they're laying across from each other. Then up on the 7th fret, same thing. You've got your 1 and your 5. So how you'd work that together, say we start down on our first chord as we did in the last lesson. Now that's really a simple move, but it's been in a ton of solos. Look at like, Slow Ride. Slow Ride. That's that lick right there. It's awesome, and it's very simple. Again, we're just working between these chords. Now, as I talked about last time, you can play this with your pick. I tend to use a hybrid because there's a lot of blocking in slide. You can let things ring open. But it can kind of get away from you. So I tend to block in between, and your ears will kind of tell you when to block. What's a block? But I use a hybrid between pick and fingers. So. And it gets pretty quick. You can move quickly like that, and you can kind of get those, if you block in between the notes, it'll make them just a little more pristine. So that's not a bad thing to work. What I'm doing is just my pick and finger. So. Okay, working on this A chord a little bit more. You can literally outline the chord with your slide and then put in a cool color tone like a 7th or something like that. So we're like in an A blues thing. That's your 7th, your 6th. So all I'm doing there, and I'll clean it out, I'm spelling out the chords and finding the melodies in it. So there's your just basic A chord, your 5, your tonic, your 3, your 5, and your 1. Now if you slide into that 3, that's where you get all that personality when you're kind of working between the flat 3 and the major 3. There's that tension. So you can really work that with your slide, Again, it's really simple stuff, and you'll never get lost, because if you're wondering where you are, just go to the chord and outline that. So say we're in A doing a 1-4-5, and I'm just going to go between those two chord voicings I showed you. So in A, that chord, that chord. In D, that chord, and that chord. In E, that chord, and that chord. So it sounds repetitive and boring, but you can pull so much out of that depending on where you place the notes and how you slide into it and how you work kind of the tension notes in between. Here we go. Here's just a quick example. Oh, one more thing I'll add, like some color tones. Okay, so there's our A, but here's our A seventh. So we're going to work in that note, and if we bring it down, we have a 6 or a 13. So we'll work around that stuff too. So here goes, just a simple blues singing A, and I'm going to just use those 2 chords in around the 1-4-5 and show you what we get. So that's as simple as it gets, but it sounds far more complex because you're following the changes and you're working between those different chords. And it's really simple. It's a great way to follow changes and not get lost. And that little bit on the end, which is kind of a neat trick, all I'm doing is going up an octave. So I'm hitting here and sliding up an octave. But I hit it to get that harmonic thing. So just go like... Come on, man. How pimp is that? It's kind of exciting to hear. So my advice to you, first of all, is have fun playing, because that's what it's all about, man. It is all about fun. And I've found it's more fun to play well than play poorly. So kind of really listen to yourself and listen when you get sloppy, and kind of try and listen to making the notes sing and make the guitar do what you want it to do. And it just means a lot of hours of sitting around and kind of coaxing notes out of it. So try doing the same thing in different keys, like the key of G, where you're working around for a 1-4-5, G, C, and D. Do the same thing. So that's it for lesson number 2 on slide. Next we'll get into fingering behind the slide and some cool things like that. And after that, that's all there is. So you're almost there. This is John Bohlinger. Peace out.
Don't forget to sign up for PG Perks, your all-access pass to exclusive gear giveaways and discounts on PremierGuitar.com.